first win in 15 years over the Utah Utes.
Another team has punched their ticket, and they hail from Logan, Utah.
Stunning 44-10 lead for Utah State.
Don't stop believing.
Hello. Welcome to the Sagebrush Show and Aggie Podcast. I believe that's what our name is. It's been a while. We took a nice holiday break.
What the hell?
Just kidding.
What happened? We left and everything was so nice.
We were favored in the bowl game and a couple other games, and the house is a mess.
We left this house. This house was clean.
The house's bed was made, and now it is trifled with losses.
The dishes are everywhere, and their beer cans cracked on the floor like
Root beer cans.
root beer, obviously.
But yeah,
What happened? we had 7-5. We expected our football team to go and get us to 8 wins and kind of finish off the year. And our basketball team was, I believe, 13-3.
13-2.
No. We are you sure? No, you're right. 13-2 because they were 13-2, and now
They've lost.
we're 15-5, and
We're 13-5.
so we were 11-2, and now we are 13-5.
They
And
lost 3 in a row.
she's-
Anyway, back to the introductions. My name is Braxton Moon. Along with me, I have Braden Clark to my left, and Tim is not here.
Tim is watching the Knicks,
Tim is at the Knicks basketball game. Well, the Jazz basketball game down the road.
but when you're a Knicks fan and you don't get to see them only once a year, I give him whatever. Go and do your thing, Tim.
Yep. We'll miss you.
See you next week. But yeah, wow, what a humble pie the last month. I would say month or week
It's 3
has
weeks.
been. Well, because we lost to UNLV on Wednesday, remember? Or
We're
is
talking
it-
football too, though.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a really rough
Holiday season for the Aggies.
Definitely. And here's the thing with my job in particular is that I am the lone person here at this station and one of the few people in Salt Lake who is pushing for more Utah State content. And I had some merit to where I could say, no, like our basketball team's really good. We have a future first round quarterback in our football team. We should be talking about these guys more. But now Utah State football and basketball have collectively gotten a gigantic pie and just thrown it at my face.
Yeah, it's been a very bad 3 weeks.
It's like they let me have this podcast on our station because of how successful and everything has been, and now everything's just kind of completely downhill.
It's been a nosedive
in this decade, in this 2020.
And the Aggies haven't won in 2020.
Yeah, we are 0-3,
But
it's really frustrating, and I've put in a lot of effort to kind of build the respect for Utah State here, and they've just kind of completely let it all loose, football and basketball, and we're back to square one, kind of having to garner that respect. And Spence told me today that we're not talking any more Utah State basketball the rest of the year because they have not earned it. And that's the fact of the matter, is that we are such a small minority in this state that we have to really make it worth people to hear us. And we can't mess up like we did, and we did. And now we have to go back and earn that respect that we got last year.
yep, we're starting at ground one. I mean, I think we had the same record at this point last year that we had this point last year that we have now.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's not like we haven't been here before
No, because we didn't lose 3 games.
in a row. But
Did we lose 3 Mountain West Conference games last year? We lost to Fresno,
Nevada.
We lost to Nevada. And did we lose to San Diego State at home?
I believe
Not at home, but at San Diego State?
No, I believe we beat them. I think we only lost twice.
Okay, so yeah, it's frustrating, and let's keep on this basketball theme because obviously this is what most people are wanting to hear.
Yeah. So I'll stop you there. But we've been on break for 2 weeks.
Yep. Got some time to.
Got some time to rest and relax over the holidays.
Yep. Braxton went to California.
Went to California. It was really good. Bought a lightsaber. Went to Disneyland. The Aggies, beat Florida.
Yeah, honestly, the preseason schedule for Utah State,
non-conference schedule.
It's semantics. That was a awesome non-conference. If you would have told me that we would have beaten Florida, beaten LSU, and gone 11-2 or whatever we decided it was, it's pretty good. You know?
Going into our official, conference play being 11-2.
Yeah,
is a really good, or 13-2. It is a really good look.
Yeah.
And it's kind of gone downhill like we've been talking about. I think no one really expected us to lose to UNLV the way we did.
No.
What was that, by like 21?
Yeah, roughly.
And then played San Diego State close, the number 7 team in the country, correct? Or
they were 13, but
13.
now they're 7.
Yeah. So we, lose by 8 against them, 8 or 7 or 8, and then just get our doors blown off against their force last night. Did you even watch that game yesterday, Brady?
Yeah, well, I went and saw Ford versus Ferrari at halftime.
At halftime, we were up.
We were up at one point by 12 points in the first half. We were up 34 to 22 or something like that. And then and I can't remember the exact number, but we got outscored like 55 to 19 the rest of the game.
Yeah, it was like 57-19 or something crazy like that. And I was sitting there watching it, and I was like, okay, hello? Where's our offense? Where's our defense? It's hard to watch this Aggie team right now because they're so much better. And here's a hot take. This is the Aggie team that we've always had. Last year, we just outperformed our expectations. I think watching Sam, you can tell he's kind of being hampered by injuries a little bit. He kind of hurts himself on the floor. His ankles are kind of bumming. Keita's not 100%. I don't think he's even 80%. He doesn't have his lateral quickness at all. He doesn't have there's some instances where he has his jump, his little burst, but you don't see it too much anymore.
Yeah, and it's just frustrating. And you're saying that I've thought about that as well, is that we have been a little bit maybe overperforming in a way, mainly because last year we had zero expectations. We saw what these guys were going into last year. I didn't have high expectations. I didn't think that we were going to win the Mountain West Conference Championship last year with that talent. Craig Smith comes in, gives it some life, gives it some, pizzazz and some hope for these players. And they came in no expectations, and nobody was really looking at them seriously. Sam wasn't getting double teamed every second of every offensive possession. It's tough for them, but there are things that are happening this year that didn't happen last year, meaning that guys just aren't hitting shots. And, Sam and Abel are one of the few that are actually hitting open threes when they get them, and good for them. But
Diogo isn't hitting anything.
Diogo is dreadful on offense, unfortunately. And I know that you and Tim don't like him and think that he's very inefficient, and I'll give you that. He shoots a lot. But Brock Miller is one of the few guys that actually can get open and hit shots, or at least take shots, because everyone else, it's just they're not hitting these open threes. I have no confidence. We were shooting roughly right on 37% in the non-conference schedule when it comes to our three-point shooting. In conference, we're shooting 22% from the three-point line.
That's awful.
It's really bad.
Honestly, I sit there and I watch, and I'm like, this is the same. It's basically the same Aggie offense as last year. And Diogo's not hitting threes. Brock hits one every 4. Abel's a 37% shooter. I think Sam's percentages are down across the board.
Sam is actually up from last year.
Is
but
he?
Yeah, but it's
he's not taking as many.
Yeah, well, now he is, but he's missing a lot more now.
Yeah, I read a tweet yesterday, and it said the Aggies averaged between Abel, Diogo, and Sam, they averaged 17 3-pointers a game. last year. This
Yep.
year it's only 9.
Yep.
So
Well, and so to go, so before this entire season, we averaged 33% from the 3-point line in conference season alone. So it's definitely brought that number down a whole bunch. We averaged 24% from the 3-point line. That is dreadful, especially because we take roughly right around 100. We've taken 100 3-pointers in our conference. So we were only, I think, if you do the math, we basically made 26 3-pointers.
Yeah.
Out of 100 or out of 106. Yeah, it's very bad. And on top of that, it's that if Nimi goes and gets in foul trouble, we are done.
Yeah, I want to know when Kuba's going to be back and healthy. I want to know when everyone's going to be back and healthy. It's just hard to watch Saggy offense. Like I said, it's just like because Keita gets in foul trouble quite a bit.
Yeah, especially because he's laboring a little bit. He's late on things.
Yeah. And you see him, he's not running the floor as well. And it's we get it. It's his 6th game back.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's only played 6 games. But it's hard to watch. He's a great player.
Yeah.
And he has a bright future. But right now I think he's forcing it a little bit. I think he's forcing his shots a little bit. He's forcing the issue. He's a great passer from the post. But there's sometimes he just throws up a hook and you're like, Nimi, what are you doing?
And I don't think he is the biggest issue. Where I was going with that is that we can't afford him not on the court. And that's an issue because he is injured. And because when Trevin Dorius or even Kuba goes on the court, they can't do anything. They can't play defense. They can't play the offense. We saw that yesterday. The Air Force center, who's 6'8", just destroyed us.
I think he had, what,
31 points, and it was just ridiculous. And so that, along with us not being able to shoot, and then we were getting roughly, I think, 18 points off the bench in the non-conference. And now, Alfonso's getting maybe 6 points a game now?
Alfonso's dropped off in conference play, I feel like.
I feel like he's kind of gotten himself into the doghouse somehow.
Yeah.
Because he was playing often, and most of the time when Nimi was...
On the crunch time, it was double A out there. And it's hard because you don't really see him.
He barely played against San Diego State. And, he was the most important player, in my opinion, to this team because, and I remember when this season was done and recruiting season was coming around and, we were losing all these players because we were kind of telling them to leave and the grad transfers started coming, it would have been prevalent. It would have been so important if we were able to land a player like Jake Toolson as a grad transfer to come in. A second scorer on that wing position would have been tremendous to help this squad. And I was adamant that we needed a point guard that could kind of help and ease the load there. Abel's done very well this year, better than I thought he would at times. But still, it's Sam or bust. And then when he's healthy, kind of give him to him the low post and do his thing. But right now, the offense is so stagnant. It doesn't flow, and it's mainly because these guys aren't hitting shots.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is, they're going to start hitting those shots eventually. You would hope.
Yeah.
You would hope. But it's just hard. You don't see it.
No, all year.
And I mean, we've seen it like you said earlier. The perimeter defense is kind of the weak point, and Air Force definitely lit us up on that. San Diego State definitely lit us up. I think they shot 45% from 3, like in the spectrum. Like I was there at that game, and you were as well. I don't think I've ever seen a team shoot that well in the spectrum, and we were still keeping it in the game.
They shot 9 for 20 from the 3-point line.
Yeah, so that's 45% basically.
Yeah, it is 45%. Good math, Brax. We shot 26% from the 3-point line.
And once again, that's our woes coming.
And I remember I was talking to John Kuhn, who's the AP writer for the state, and he was talking to me. He's like, this game, like we were down 6, maybe 7 at the end of like the last minute of the game, and he points out, it's like, how many 1-on-1s you missed in this game, and then also front rimmed a lot of free throws, and then Sam went I think like 3 for 12 from the 3-point line, and Brock Miller went 0 for 3 from the 3-point line. one of those hits from each of them, and then you don't
shoot horrendous from the free throw line.
Yeah, and it looks fine now. When you look at the free throw percentage, it wasn't as bad as it looks, and it's still 66%. But so many of those were 1-and-1s.
I mean, we
missed the front one.
Didn't we lead the nation in field goal field free throw percentage? Sorry.
Well, I don't think that last year we did.
Diogo's an 85% 3-point shooter. Sam's really good.
But Sam's gotten way worse this year. He's missed so many free throws.
Yeah, and I mean, Nemi's he's 50%. I expect Nemi.
He was our most consistent one.
I expect Nemi to miss one every trip.
But he was the one that was actually hitting them in the end of the game against San Diego State, which is odd. But
and then it's just hard to watch this team, and even UNLV, like you forget. Oh, they lost by 20 that game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where'd that come from?
You lost 53-70 to UNLV, and then 60-79 against Air Force.
Yeah, it's like those are bad losses.
Very bad, and that's why. And I remember right before San Diego State, I tweeted out that game is a must win.
Mm-hmm. And I thought I disagreed with you because I was like, okay, it's still January. We still go on a run. We'll be fine. Like if we lose, like they're a really good team. If we lose, it won't look that bad. Mm-mm. But sandwiching, a loss. So I think the one that derailed our season was the UNLV loss.
Yeah,
I think if we sandwiched the San Diego State win or San Diego State loss with those, if we beat Air Force and beat UNLV,
it doesn't matter. Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but the one that derailed our season was UNLV.
It got us off track. The one that derailed the season was Air Force yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, do we even make March
No,
Madness?
we were on the bubble yesterday.
Yeah.
We are completely off that bubble now.
Yeah.
We are 91st in net rankings. They're completely out of the question when it comes to an at-large bid. We have to run the season and hope that we can get a few games, hope that San Diego State is still undefeated and beat them in San Diego, and hopefully UNM is actually a really decent squad and beat them in the pit. You are asking this team who can't shoot threes, who's injured, and is very inconsistent so far in this decade, in this 2020, to go on the road to major places that we've struggled in our history of our program to go and do something that they've never done before.
Exactly. And I think I want to be hopeful, and I want to, be cheery, because it brings in ratings for the podcast. But I don't think we're going to do it.
You're asking this team to be perfect.
Yeah, and they won't be.
They can't be. They could be, but what confidence do I have that this team can go into all these places? Nevada is still undefeated in conference. They think that they could be us last year, and they're going to come in angry because of what we did to them.
Yeah, we play Nevada on Saturday.
like it doesn't get any easier.
No, like there's no cupcakes in this conference anymore. I feel like because everyone's giving us their number one shot because all they heard this season was
unanimous.
Unanimous. That's all they heard.
They're the best in the conference history. Because there's never been one. We are the first Mountain West Conference team to ever pick to be unanimously in this conference. Now, you could say, the conference is worse this year, and that's probably exactly why that was the case. But that title is definitely warranted. They have not gotten it through their heads. They have not been able to battle this way of kind of expectations of being the hunted instead of the hunters. Everyone's coming at them with their best shot, and it just seems that they don't have that alpha mentality. You don't have that one guy that you can no, give it to him, he's going to take it over. Sam doesn't have that, and it was I haven't seen it all year until Florida, and Florida was like, okay, look, that's what Sam has to be. He has to know that he's the baddest guy on the court, and he's just not that.
No, and it's. You want Sam to have that Mamba mentality, that killer instinct, and it's just.
I mean, who do you trust? I say if the only person that comes to my mind when I go to, somebody that I need someone to kind of be the physical, somebody to shut the other person up. It's Nemi and Justin Bean. Nemi is kind of a shell of himself right now, just because he's still recovering from injury, and it is what it is. And Justin Bean, he's been relatively quiet in the last couple of games too.
Yeah, I think the last 3 games he hasn't really performed to the standards we've seen at the start of the season. And you have to think, was that a fluke as well? Look, 3 straight losses is bad. Is this indicative of the team that we are right now? We don't know. I think we lose in Nevada this Saturday. Season's over.
Yeah. Oh, so I thought you were saying you thought we were going to lose. No. So yeah. So this is what it's going to come down to right here. So we got Nevada on Saturday, and then we got an entire week until we play Boise State in Boise.
Yeah.
Boise State has given us troubles last year.
Boise State's always given us troubles.
Yeah. It's not like we're going to go into Boise. They beat BYU in Boise. Okay. So like they're not nothing to scoff at right here. And then you got it. Like this is where we got to turn the season around. Right here. This is where everyone's kind of wrote them off. We can't think about getting that 1 seed anymore because I don't think it's going to be even remotely possible, the fact that San Diego State will lose 4 games to get that 1 seed. I think that's completely off the table. We just got to hope that the other teams above us kind of start falling, and then we just kind of run it and get that 2 seed again.
I mean, like, this team can make a run in the Mountain West Championship.
They're good enough.
Yeah,
we saw it last year.
I think in the Mountain West tournament they can make a run and win. That's very possible, but it's a tall task.
We've beaten good teams. Florida is a good team, and they're better than Air Force. They're better than UNLV, and I would even throw in LSU is also better than Air Force and UNLV. Those teams, and I wonder. And I saw this too, is that I wonder if Nemi being back is kind of canceling out Justin's what he does for the team.
That's what I brought that up to a couple of my buddies, Tyler and Connor, and I was like, look, since Nemi's been back, we've lost. It's hard to.
He came back against Fresno State, right? He played against Fresno State. We went to overtime. Mm-hmm. And barely squeaked that one out.
And then
BYU,
lost.
We lost. Then he played against South Florida, went to overtime, beat them by 2, gets knocked out of Florida. We win that game, obviously. Back against UNLV, a loss. San Diego State, loss. Air Force, loss.
Yeah. And I think the offense doesn't move as well with him in it. I think it's like I was saying, he's a really great player. There's something missing when he's on the floor.
Well, he's very confident in himself, and I didn't see that much last year. And it's fine being confident, but he does demand the ball a lot. And I don't want to say like the offense is struggling because of him, because it's not. And the reason why is because we're not hitting threes. Last year we were hitting threes, so he was able to kind of get
that space, that one-on-one space down the post.
Yeah, get that ball in the low post, and they can't come double team him because that they're worried that Brock Miller is over there in the corner. That if he dishes down, if he goes and helps down, Brock has a quick enough release that he's going to get that 3-pointer off and hit it. And so Nemi was able to kind of do his thing. But yeah, it's just they got to hit. The panic button has been hit. Okay, this team has got to do something to make us all believe again, because dang, this has been such a disappointment season.
Yes.
We were talking about this team possibly being a top 10 team in the country.
Yeah, we were talking about a 4 seed, a 5 seed.
Yeah.
In March Madness. And now, do we make the NIT?
Oh, yeah, we'd have to.
I mean, you would hope so.
Well, right now we're like what? I think 7th in the Mountain West.
Yeah.
Because UNLV, Nevada, San Diego State, Air Force, I think Boise State, and Fresno all have better records than us right now. So I think we're 7. Yeah. So we have to, start righting the ship, turning it around, and hopefully get something going for the last half of this season. Man, what a disappointment this would be if we don't make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
with everything returning. Silver lining is
Coach Smith stays.
Coach Smith is going to stay for another year, and we're going to have him back. And at this point, I'm leaning more heavily that Nemi comes back next year as well.
Yeah, I think we return everyone but Sam and Diogo, correct?
Yep, and then
Abel
Porter too. So those 3, and then we'll have the freshmen that are redshirting playing, and
the Virginia guard.
Yep, so. he'll be the starting guard. But
I think like it sucks. It's really not fun to watch. But silver lining, Coach Smith still there, so that's something to look forward to. Like Brady said, Nemi's going to come back, so that's another added layer to maybe next year. and we say, "Oh, maybe next year." But you don't want to say maybe next year at this point of the season,
Right.
I don't want to hear that.
We had such high expectations of this team, and just quickly like going through, and the reason why I'm very more leaning that Nemi's coming back than most people are is because if you look at most mock drafts, he still isn't showing up in the first round. Like I'm scrolling quickly, and on this Sports Illustrated article that came out yesterday, I'm at 20. He still hasn't shown up. And you keep scrolling down. There's nothing here in the top 30. So
there's no way he gets drafted.
Well,
I think with his performance this year, there's no way he would get drafted.
And he was already low enough on mock drafts that he had to have a good year this year to kind of elevate himself up there. And he hasn't played, and when he has, he hasn't really had He's been hurt, and he hasn't had a dominant spot. So, hopefully, if there's any silver lining that you could take from this, I thought we were gonna lose Craig this year. I thought it was for sure that he was gonna get a big offer, but maybe this is something that we're gonna look forward to in like 5 years. And remember that time that we almost lost Craig Smith because we thought that we were gonna have a really good year, but he's still here now, and I don't know.
Anyway. Off basketball now, probably.
Yeah, let's get off something that I'm angry about to something that I'm less angry about.
Draft Watch 2020.
Let's talk about our football game against Kent State real quick.
Then football time 2019.
Man, should we have gone back to ourselves in 2018, and early 2019 and be like, no, you guys gotta
simmer down, boys.
You are in the golden year of Utah State sports. I thought. I was one of them that said yeah, this year's really good, but next year could be even better, because now football wise it was the biggest question mark, but we had Jordan Love, and I felt that was enough. It turns out it wasn't, and then basketball, we had everyone returning from that really good team last year. And I was like, and the best teams in the Mountain West were Nevada lost all their key players, so I figured that no, we'll obviously be the best team next year, and it's so far proven to be not the case. So I wish I could go back to myself last fall and early spring to be like, no, just enjoy what's happening right here, because 2018, 2019, early 2019 will probably go down as the greatest back-to-back seasons for Utah State sports when it comes to football and basketball.
Yeah, I agree. I think
7-6.
Yeah. I mean, once again,
Tim said it. He said if we lose to Kent State, it's a disaster.
Yeah,
as Tim would say.
And we've already lost Mike Sanford.
Yeah, he's in Minnesota, which is weird because I think the majority of Utah State fans were kind of wanting him to leave anyway.
Yeah, I think most gripe with Utah State was, the offense is vanilla.
Well, and here's my pushback before Mike Sanford is that Dave Yost was also nothing to be proud of his first year.
Yeah, I think.
And then the second year is when everything took off.
So I think, it takes a couple years to install an offense.
Yeah, you got to be patient
to get your guys that you want. And this is how many different coordinators in the last 10 years? In the decade, how many different coordinators has Utah State had? So many.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
If you're thinking we've had 6 or 7 different coordinators in the last decade.
Yeah, that's not a bad point. I mean,
it's hard to have stability. It's hard to be,
And it is what it is with the small school thing. If you have a good offensive coordinator, if you have a good year, obviously they're going to get poached out of there. But yeah, you're right. We've had quite a few. But also in the last year, we've had 3. We're going to have 3. We had Yost, and then we're going to have Sanford, and then we're going to have whoever's going to be the next. I haven't heard much of any buzz who's going to be the next OC. Has there been any talk to you? Have you seen anything?
I haven't seen anything.
That's the end of
all my sources have not drawn anything.
Oh, I forget all your pigeons out there in Logan.
Got some carrier pigeons in Logan.
But that's something to keep notice. But yeah, 3 offense coordinator. It's a new era. It's a new era for Utah State football.
New decade, yeah.
And that too. You got Henry Colombi or Drew Peasley.
Yeah, or someone else.
Or a freshman.
Or that freshman from Washington. He's pretty good.
Yeah, we got him, and then we also got the Jordan Love heir apparent in California that's also a freshman.
He'll sit, I think, for a little bit.
Well, he redshirted last year, so he should technically be a redshirt freshman, and compete for the position. You had the Orem kid, Legos. Kuverlegas,
Yeah.
who was really good at Orem. One of the best.
How many quarterbacks we got on the roster?
A lot.
Why do we have so?
I don't know. I have no idea. And so I think it's going to be Henry Columbia's to lose. Let's run down what we think about what's going on next year. I mean, we got a tough schedule, and a lot of people.
Yeah, we play Washington State at home,
which is interesting. Mike Leach is going to Logan.
Yeah, and they're going to absolutely run us out the building.
Here's the thing: is that they're going to have their offense, but they're replacing the entire offense. Though they lose their quarterback, most of their wide receivers
with the Mike Leach offense. So it's the same every year. Lots of yards, lots of points. I think that's probably our toughest out of conference game. We play Washington. I was like, we play Washington. Never mind.
So let's just run this down, okay? We'll go by game, and then I want Braxton. You're going to tell me if it's a win or loss. Okay?
I'll cover my eyes.
Okay, so game 1, Washington State at home.
Loss.
Game 2, Southern Utah at home.
Win. Game
3, at Washington Huskies.
Loss.
Replacing their head coach and their offense, but it's still they're going to have good offense. I think that game may be closer than Washington State, but I don't think it's close. At BYU.
Win.
That's a loss for me. Okay, so you're sitting at 2-2, and I'm sitting at 1-3 out of non-conference season.
Yeah.
Okay. At Boise State.
Loss.
So you're 2-3. I'm 1-4. At Colorado State.
Win.
I think that's a win too. So you're 3-3. I'm 2-4. At Nevada.
Win.
That's a good win. I think. Nevada's. They won 8. They got 8 wins this year. No, they lost. They lost in those. So they got 7. There's 7 like us. So that puts you at 4-3, and I'm at 3-4. Air Force at home. They're replacing their quarterback, who had a very good year. Air Force is so tough to kind of read.
Air Force is tough every year because the offense. I think that's a win at home.
I think so too. I think that puts me at 4-4. You at 5-3. 5-3. Okay.
A little too optimistic here.
Fresno State.
Loss.
Okay. I mean, fair. I think that's actually a win for me.
Oh, well, I just got to even up the.
Yeah. You're getting too optimistic.
Yeah.
So I'm what 5 and.
We're both 5-4.
5-4.
Yeah.
Okay. And then New Mexico Lobos. I think it's a win. It's 6-4 for both of us. San Diego State at home. Replacing Rocky Long, by the way. Brady Hoke is now their head coach again.
I think that's a win.
I think. Well, they're replacing their offense. Their quarterback is coming back, right?
Yeah.
Agnew.
Yeah.
Ryan Agnew's back. I think they're going to win that one. So I think.
Yeah, I'm counting that as a loss actually.
It's 5 and. Oh wait,
we're 6-5 or
6-5.
Yeah.
6-5. And the last game of the year at Wyoming.
Loss.
6-6.
Yep.
I think 6-6 is the median this year,
mm-hmm.
and then you can sway it because there are games that I know that we will lose. Games I know we will lose: Washington State, Washington, Boise State. I know there's no chance we win those games. And okay, so in games I know that we can win: Southern Utah, New Mexico. Yeah, I was like, everyone else is kind of. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be, and then the year after that we play Alabama.
Gosh, I forgot about that.
Why do we do this?
Because we need the money.
I know.
Let's see. I'm curious.
Craig Smith, but he's gonna take a discount now.
No, it's 2022 as they replay.
Oh, is that?
Yeah,
I thought it was 2021.
Yeah, 2021 is actually not a bad. How did we get Washington State to come to Logan first?
Home and home, man.
Because we go to Washington State after next year. But yeah, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
2022 is when we play Alabama. So yeah, but kind of going back to that schedule, 6-6 should be the high, not the high, but the expectation.
The expected average. Which I mean, that's for all that happened this year. Losing our first round quarterback, losing our leader on defense. I think 6-6 is not a bad record.
It's to kind of restart. kind of put more confidence in the program. It is a rebuilding year of as anyone can get. Henry Colombi or Drew Peasley or whoever, one of the other 6 quarterbacks that we got in there, to come in and win that job.
I think Gary Anderson will start getting his guys.
Yep.
And so I think I'm not going to judge Gary until about year 3.
I think next year is what start, because I hear a lot of rumors that he's kind of out of it.
Yeah.
That he's realizing that he just doesn't have the passion for it anymore. I hear a lot of rumors that a possible Weber State head coach might come in relatively soon to be the associate head coach.
Interesting.
So that
That's a big old rumor right there.
So that Gary can retire next year, and then said Weber State coach becomes the head coach of Utah State.
Are we going to name names?
I can't say where I'm hearing this from, but it's a solid source.
Is it a pretty reliable source?
It's a solid source, but also this person also told me that Jordan Love is transferring. So
I'll hit up Bovey, the assistant.
Yes, and that's the other main reason is
because Bovey was the athletic director,
Weber State athletic director,
and his son went to my high school.
Really?
Yep, he graduated the year before me.
Davis Dart?
Or year after me.
Davis Dart?
He's in Court's graduating class.
All right. Davis Dart.
Jared
No,
Bovey.
Why do I know that name?
I don't know.
And anyway, so we got that going for us, and I lost my train of thought. I was going to say something, and then I went out Davis Dart. And
we were talking about potential head coach change.
Oh, so yes, because I know Hartwell. He wanted Jay Hill as his next head coach. Boosters that be
changed his mind.
So, we'll see what happens. I hope that Gary can get it right. I mean, last year just the fight in the team just didn't seem that the team was that interested at the end of the year in the big games. They didn't seem that they were that motivated to they seemed that they lost. And we kind of noticed that because every game we lost, excluding Wake Forest and Kent State, we got just destroyed in every time.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. Every loss we had was a big loss, and every win we had was a close win. Basically, kind of. I mean,
there is some in there.
There's some in there, but it was. Why is it so hard to be an Aggie fan?
Well, I think that our older fans that are listening to this are like, oh, these guys are so petty. Back in my day, when we would win 3 games, it was a big year.
Charlie Riddle, if you're listening, we're sorry.
Yeah, and I understand that there's history there, but I just want us to be better.
I know.
I want to win a conference championship. Well, is that too hard to ask?
2020 or the 20s, the decade. Do we win a conference championship?
We got to recruit better.
Yeah.
We can't be in the bottom half of the recruiting class ever. And I know people are like, oh, 24/7 is a hard metric to go by because it goes by mainly by total of recruits you get. And if you don't have a lot of scholarships to give out, you won't have very many. You won't be a highly graded. But still, if you look at the 24/7, we're still lower than other schools that have roughly the same scholarship. We were lower than Hawaii, lower than San Jose, lower than we're only higher than New Mexico.
Yeah, I mean it's
and if we have 12 scholarships on the to give out on the year, those 12 players should be better than at least 5 different Mountain West schools.
Yeah,
at least, and whatever. Enough negative talk. Let's talk about something positive.
2020 draft talk.
This is basically going to occupy the majority of our football talk until roughly around the spring.
Yeah, until probably the day of the draft.
Day of the draft.
Or the week after, where we decide if Jordan Love plays this season.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see this. This is going to be awesome because I can't remember the last time I really was so in tune to the draft.
Oh, I'm going to stop you there. I love the draft.
Yeah,
I would watch the combine in the basement of the fraternity house. I just love 40 times. I love looking at all the prospects. I think now that I have kind of some ties to it, some attachment to watching one of my favorite college quarterbacks go to in the first round potentially, it really kind of is important. And I'm super excited to watch the Senior Bowl
Yeah, which is in the end of January 26th.
Yeah, I think it gives an opportunity for, like I said, those head coaches to kind of come in and groom these players. I'm super excited to see Jordan Love and Justin Herbert play in the Senior Bowl. I think,
and Jalen Hurts.
I think Jordan Love will come in and really prove that he has the better. I don't want to say he's the better thrower of the ball than both those people. I think Jordan Love is better talent potential, or his better potential than both Herbert and Hurts.
Yeah, and his ceiling is going to come down to this Senior Bowl and how he tests at Pro Day. He tests at the Combine. If he does well in those, I think his stock will obviously rise. But if you go on, and I've read so many mock drafts this season and this off season, just to see where the kind of trajectory of Jordan, and it's been all over the place. Nobody's consensus on this guy.
He's like the Josh Allen of a couple years ago. I made that comparison.
I think a lot of people make that just because he's in the Mountain West and Josh Allen.
But in terms of like draft stock, Josh Allen was projected to go in middle of the second, and then he ends up 10th. The Bills. Like,
I want to say 7. I thought it was 7.
Maybe it was 7, but like, and Jordan Love could go anywhere. Jordan Love can impress enough where the Chargers at 10 could take him, or I think Jordan Love's draft ceiling is right on the fringe of top 10, like 11 or 12, and his floor, he won't drop out of the first quarter of the second round.
Yeah, I think his floor is definitely the end of the second round. But
yeah, I don't even think end. I think he's a top 45 pick.
I've seen. This is when the Chargers were picking 7. I've seen him go as high as 7 since the season ended, and that was to the Chargers at 7. I've seen him go 19 to the or 20 to the Jaguars recently. I see him going to the Saints a lot. And Braxton really wants him to go to the Vikings.
So bad.
But as long as they continue to win.
I don't want to win anymore. I don't want Kirk Cousins on my team.
So it's going to be fun to keep in touch with those guys. It's obviously Joe and Tua are the 2 top ones, but outside of that, I mean, you kind of scroll quickly down. The Chargers are going to be looking for a quarterback. Panthers are going to be looking for a quarterback. I would think the Jaguars are also going to be looking for a quarterback. Vegas might. The Colts might. And you got the Buccaneers might. Broncos could.
Buccaneers are probably definitely looking for a quarterback.
And, Saints are looking for their future. Titans might.
I think
Vikings might.
Patriots.
Depends on what happens with Peyton, Tom Brady.
Well, I think Tom Brady is kind of done after next year.
So it just depends on all that. But yeah, we promised not to leave you guys for about 4 weeks or whatever, how long we were gone for again. But
yeah, I mean, I think are we lucky? Is this podcast lucky?
We'll see on Saturday.
We'll see on Saturday.
If we pull it out and we look like we are our old selves on Saturday, we definitely are going to blame it on us.
Yeah, blame if we beat Nevada by 15, I want you in my DM saying,
Why'd you leave?
You're the good luck charm.
Obviously, this is all on us, and we apologize for letting you down.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that, we've been about 15 minutes in.
Yeah, it's been quite a long one.
I think wrap it up. Since Tim's not here, let's share our favorite memory of Tim.
Our favorite memory of Tim? Oh, man. I have to think about that one. I lived with Tim for about a year.
I lived with Tim for a long time. My favorite was he went through a lot of toilet paper.
Why are you going to tell people that?
I got to. And me and my roommate at the time, his name was Bubba, we always thought he ate it. This is a joke. It was our inside joke that Tim would eat the toilet paper.
I think that we leave it at that.
Anyway.
If Tim listens to this, he won't, but if he does, I'm not going to bring it up to him.
Anyway, that has been the Sagebrush Show and Aggie Podcast. As always, my name is Braxton Moon. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn at HeyBMoon.
You have your LinkedIn.
Go along with it. And that's Brady Clark.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Good night.